Hello everybody and welcome to my darkroom. Jokes apart, welcome to my new old darkroom. Before we begin, as usual, I want to just give you a message. If you want to support the channel, please check out my books. There are some of them. You can check the link down there, and there's something as inkjet fine art printing, that is my last book, very good reviews. Photography, the manual, all the basics you need about photography, also about film photography, and a novel that had really great reviews online. It is Lasting Photographs. So check them out, and if you want to support the channel, go down the link, go to Amazon and buy these books. So let's start talking about my new old darkroom. New old because this room was the first darkroom I ever built. It was in my parents' house, and it was, I think, in the early 80s, and we had the room, so I built up a couple of walls and created this darkroom. It was kind of nice design. Then when I moved to my studio, I obviously brought the darkroom with me, and in the meantime this room became kind of storage space, storage laboratory, these kind of things. So this year I decided to put back together the darkroom. I had to clean up the garage and other things, so I used that to also clean up this room and put back all my darkroom equipment. And it was big job, because a room that is used as storage is the opposite of a darkroom, because it means a lot of dust, and dust is the enemy of darkroom. So I decided to repaint everything, re-clean everything, and go on. And you can see a little short time lapse of the effort. But about this room, when you build a darkroom, there are some choices to make. And right now I'm going to talk to you about the darkroom in general, and I will do more videos about the specific equipment that you can find in here. But in general, when you build a darkroom, there are a lot of choices to make. First of all, you need to have some room, and all depends on the room you have to build a darkroom. But there are choices that are common for every kind of darkroom. And the first one is, do I paint the darkroom with black or very dark gray to avoid light reflection, these things, or I go with almost white darkroom. And as you can see, my choice was to go with a very light color paint, very light gray. And this is there are two different philosophies. One is put on black, so you will basically eliminate, there will be no reflection of lights leaking in. And the other one is, no, I want a lot of reflection, because I want my safe light to be reflected, so I can work pretty well with the safe light, and I can work well for the phases that I have to use the light for. For example, when I trim the prints, or I mount them, and all these kind of things. But the idea for me is that in a darkroom you do not have light that is not safe, that is in the darkroom. If you have some light leaking in, it's not a matter of painting the wall black, it's try to fix the problem. Try to avoid to have lights that leaks in. And I want to have the walls clear, so white and reflective, because I want to be conscious if there's some light leaking in. So I want that the light leaks be visible, so I can fix them. And this is there are two philosophies. If you check on all books about darkroom, there are these two philosophies, and my choice was for the light paint darkroom. Another thing that is absolutely essential in the darkroom is to have an airflow, to change the air of the darkroom when you develop. Chemicals are smelly, are not really healthy for us, so the most important thing is to have a system to move the air and to let the air flow in your darkroom. And to do this, since we built this darkroom from scratch, I have built up there in that wall. There's a very long, is probably 2.5 meters or something like that. It's a very long intake that is safe for light. So there's a design where the air gets in, turn around in this dark, in this T-shaped chamber, and comes out on the other side. And that lets all the air I need come inside the darkroom without letting the light come inside. By the way, that thing was made with wood, and in the ears the problem is the wood dried a little bit, especially, and it shrank a little. So where it was connected to the bricks, it kind of shrank and let some very low level light leaks coming in. So I had to, on the outside, I had to simply tape all the contour. I just taped all the contour with that aluminum tape, and now it's perfect. And that was the important thing. The second important thing is this fan here. It goes directly out on a chimney. So there's a chimney there with the opening, an opening hole, and it goes directly out. And that is essential to work well and comfortable in a darkroom. It's something that is difficult to create if you are not building your darkroom from scratch, if you are just using some space you have, but I think it's one of the most essential accessories for the darkroom. So that's the thing. Another thing that you can see around here is a lot of plugs for the power, and you can see that I divided the dry area, that is this one with the enlargers and everything else, and this area that is for the wet part of the process, so for the development and so on. And that is another very important thing to have in a darkroom if you have a room to build it, because you don't want to risk to have your liquids contaminate and go on, for example, your enlarger and so on. So that was a choice. And as you can see, it can be very cheap to build a darkroom because with what you see around here, just very old furniture from a very old kitchen. I think these are from the 50s or something like that, and it's perfect. This table is a very cheap table and a very old table, so you can use some furniture that are really old. You don't need something fancy, and so it can be very cheap. You can find this kind of furniture almost for free everywhere. So that's another important part, is do not spend too much in furnitures. Concentrate in equipment and concentrate in building the room in the proper way. Something that is essential is a good sink with a good size. Actually, this for me is very small. I was used to a much bigger one in my darkroom, but there's no way in my studio, in my darkroom studio, but there's no way to fit that sink here, or better, I have to invent how I can do that. But that sink is not too large, but is enough to be very comfortable when you have to clean the development trays and the tanks and everything else. And it is essential to have something over the sink like this, you can just put all your tanks and stuff to dry. Another thing that is important is something to wash the prints, and that is essential. And in this case, I have it there on the sink, but I want to find a place where to put it that is not occupying part of the sink. Not easy in this room because the lower ceiling on the side don't let me put it there too much, so I have to find a system with some wheels so I can move it around and use it, and depends what I'm doing. So basically this is the essential for the darkroom. What you need is a lot of closets to put all your stuffs. You need obviously something like a cable to put your negative to dry. In this case I developed it yesterday, and I'm waiting for my I ran out of negative containers, so I'm waiting in a couple of hours I will have some new paper containers, so I can take it down and put it in the archive. And there's nothing more you need in the darkroom. Something for me was important. This darkroom was made, as I said, in my parents' house, and something for me was important was a red light out of the door controlled with a switch inside. And by the way, the switch is made in a way that there's a little LED red light inside, so I have to actually turn on the light on the outside to be able to have a darkroom that is dark, and that ensure me that nobody will enter while I'm doing something. That's a stupid thing, but really works very well if you have your darkroom in a place that you share with other people. Going to the safe light side, again, I see a lot of people, especially online right now, using very bright LED strips or things like that, very big lights as a safe light. But that comes from the fact that they paint the darkroom black. So they need very strong safe light to see something. In this case, with these ceiling that are almost white, just a single lamp like this can do really a lot. It's really something that can do a lot. And I have a couple of them here, and one different yellow, red. I have an Ilford safe light there, and but with the white ceiling and white walls, it's enough. I don't need more. And this is something that makes it safer also for the paper. It's much easier to control a small lamp than to control a big lamp and make it very safe. So also there, that's why I prefer a white darkroom. Equipment, a couple of enlargers, and I will talk you about these in other videos, but one is a quadgun by IFF that it was an Italian factory, probably still exists, that make very good sturdy equipment. The other one is, and this is a condenser light enlarger, and goes up to 6x9, but I have the condenser only for 6x6. So, but this is to 6x9 with condensed light. This one is an Omega. That is the D3, I think, the Auto Omega D3. That is very nice enlarger, and I will talk you in detail about this in another video. And with the color head, so it's the diffuse light. This is the Super Omega Dichroic 2, and this is a nice enlarger that goes up to 4x5, and actually it's really a beautiful enlarger. Something that is essential no matter the enlargers is a very good easel, and with the 4 blades and all this kind of thing. So this is a very good one. By the way, all this mess here is just a transformer because this enlarger was originally for 110 volt. We have 220 in Europe, so I had to put a transformer in and so on. Other equipment that are essential, obviously there's all tanks, but I will talk about my preference for stainless steel or plastic, and there's nothing really more. One thing that is really lovely about this enlarger here, that is the quadgun by IFF, but something that is really beautiful is that the plane here, where you put the stamps, it's a metallic plate. It's the kind of, you know, the metallic things that you use to in front of your refrigerator, all these kind of things. And it's fantastic because with little magnetos it's very easy to put the paper down and just put the magnetos in the corners and keep the paper flat. So I really like this kind of metallic surface under the enlarger that let me use magnetos to position and keep there the paper. A lot of things, a lot of small accessories, a lot of obviously lens for every format, from small format to 4x5. And my dream is to find cheap or free, possible, an enlarger that is an 8x10, to do 8x10. That is something that I would love to have. For now, 8x10 would be just contact printing or scanning. So, this is, I'm looking around and I think this is all about the darkroom. One thing that you have to be really aware when you build darkroom is that the most essential thing to work well in the darkroom is to keep it clean. And yes, it's not really nice to see the things to wash the floor there, but every time you do something, just simply wipe the floor and clean the darkroom, because dust is your enemy. And if you are used with digital photography or scanning your negatives, it's not a problem. You just you see some dust on the negative and you just retouch. With printing you can retouch, but to do that by hand on a print is really time consuming. So if you can avoid any kind of dust on your negative, you will be very happy. So this is an introduction to my darkroom, and I will do more videos about darkroom, about the equipment in the darkroom, and about how I develop and my approach to the work in the darkroom, my workflow and so on. For now, I just finished this place. Actually, this was the first roll that I developed in this darkroom, in my new old darkroom. So that's all, and I hope you enjoy the video. If you have any question, just don't hesitate. Just go down in the comments and ask me question and tell me what you think. Again, before I say hello, if you want to support the channel, Lasting Photographs, a beautiful novel, Photography the manual, that is everything you need to know about the basics of photography, and inkjet fine art printing. This is another guide that is very complete about inkjet printing. Or if you want, you can get some t-shirts, but all the links are down in the description. Just go there, click and support the channel, please. This said, keep creative, stay free and try to have fun. See you next time. Bye.